All right, folks, a little late night philosophizing. I don't know how many of you played that old computer game called Pong. It was very simple, a ball that would just keep bouncing. It would bounce off the sides of the computer screen. And there were a couple of paddles you could control. You know, there'd be player one and player two, and you would move the paddles, or maybe just player one, huh? And bounce the ball, and it would kind of go through this Newtonian physics thing, and it would bounce depending, on which angle you hit it. Um, Very simple game. Um, Now, the game is a set of rules. Actually, every game is really just a set of rules. I mean, the game of chess, the true game of chess, really is just a set of rules that make up chess. Uh, so the game is a set of rules, and it's given us sort of a programming environment in this case. Now, if you are the little ball inside the game, and for some reason you were to become conscious or self conscious, and you bounced off the side of the screen, how would you know that that was not a material wall that you were hitting? It would behave that way inside the game. When on the outside of the game, in the meta level, the meta game, or the game, outside the game, is a set of rules. Inside the game would behave like substance, just like we have substance. How do I know when I strike this table that I'm not just bouncing off the wall of a game? You know, how do I know that it really has substance and it's not just rule driven? Um, how would we be able to tell? How could we prove to ourselves that we were actually in a real world rather than being in a game? Is it because uh, it's really made of matter and we can take it apart and look at pieces? Those could just be simply more rules written into the game, another level of complexity, another set of rules more complex in the game that it could be taken apart. So I think really rules could be written for any level of detail. Um, or to prove to ourselves that we are in the game, if we could rewrite the rules of the game and see the game change without touching what appears to be matter and manipulating the matter in the game, but to actually have access to the rules, in a sense, reprogram the game, change the rules, and then watch the internal environment of the game, because what's rules on the outside is environment within the game, and watch the environment change simply by changing the meta rules or the meta game. I think that would be the only way we could really prove to ourselves that we were in a game rather than in a self contained independent reality. Mm, I don't know. What do you think? Let me see if I have some other ideas here. Oh, yes. I'd played with the idea that maybe because something in the game would have its own structure, pieces of matter would have their own structure. Maybe that would indicate that it was not in a game. We were not in a game, but of course, again, those rules could be written from the outside. Um, yes, what are rules on the outside of the game are environment within the game. That's really about it. Is that the only way to prove that we? Would that be the only way to prove that we were actually in a game? And how would we get access to those rules in order to change them?